Have you ever wondered what would happen if everything you believed suddenly disappeared? Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that every goal you've ever chased, every tradition you've inherited, every moral rule you followed, might simply be inventions, not lies, just human creations. No divine author, no cosmic purpose, no ultimate reason. That terrifying possibility has a name: nihilism. Few philosophical ideas have inspired as much fear as nihilism. It has been blamed for depression, moral collapse, political extremism, and cultural decline. But nihilism isn't simply the belief that life is meaningless. It is the unsettling suspicion that meaning itself may never have existed. Like a shadow, it follows civilization wherever old certainties begin to crumble. And perhaps the most disturbing question is this: what if nihilism isn't an enemy, but a mirror? When the gods fell silent. For thousands of years, humanity lived inside stories. Religions explained suffering. Kings ruled by divine right. Traditions dictated how people should live. Meaning wasn't something you created. It was something you inherited. Then came the Enlightenment. Science explained what miracles once did. Reason challenged sacred authority. Industrialization uprooted communities. Modernity accelerated everything. Slowly, the old foundations cracked. Few thinkers captured this transformation more powerfully than Friedrich Nietzsche. His famous declaration, "God is dead," is often misunderstood. Nietzsche wasn't celebrating atheism. He wasn't claiming that a deity had literally died. He was observing something far more profound. Western civilization had stopped believing in the source of its own moral universe. People still spoke about good and evil, justice, human dignity, truth. But the foundations supporting those ideas were disappearing. Civilization, Nietzsche believed, was standing on a bridge that had already collapsed. It simply hadn't noticed yet. That gap between inherited values and lost certainty is where nihilism emerges. The abyss inside the mind. Nihilism doesn't usually arrive dramatically. It whispers. It begins with questions. Why work so hard? Why sacrifice? Why love? Why obey? Why continue? Eventually, every answer seems temporary. Every purpose feels borrowed. Every achievement fades. You begin noticing uncomfortable truths. One day, everyone alive today will be forgotten. Every empire eventually falls. Every masterpiece erodes. Every memory disappears. The universe itself appears astonishingly indifferent. Galaxies collide without intention. Stars explode without morality. Nature rewards survival, not justice. This realization has haunted philosophers for centuries. Arthur Schopenhauer believed life was driven by endless desire, a cycle of wanting, satisfaction, boredom, and renewed wanting. The Buddha, centuries earlier, had observed something remarkably similar. Desire creates suffering. Nothing lasts, everything changes. Yet Buddhism reaches compassion, Schopenhauer reaches pessimism. Nihilism goes one step further. Perhaps suffering has no higher purpose at all. Perhaps existence simply happens. Nothing more. Why nihilism is so attractive. Strangely, nihilism can feel liberating. If nothing matters, then failure loses its sting. Embarrassment fades, expectations vanish, social judgment weakens. The pressure to become someone extraordinary dissolves. No destiny to fulfill, no cosmic exam to pass, no invisible scorekeeper. For many people exhausted by impossible standards, nihilism feels like relief. It removes unbearable responsibility. But freedom carries a hidden danger. If nothing has value, why protect anything? Why tell the truth? Why keep promises? Why resist cruelty? History offers disturbing examples. When societies lose shared meaning, something often rushes in to replace it. Fanaticism, violence, absolute ideologies. Humans rarely tolerate emptiness for long. If traditional meaning disappears, people often invent new gods. Money, power, nation, technology, identity. Certainty itself becomes addictive. The shadow of nihilism does not always create despair. Sometimes it creates extremism. those who refuse the darkness. Not every philosopher accepted nihilism's verdict. Some believe that meaning does not disappear simply because certainty does. Søren Kierkegaard argued that the greatest danger was not meaninglessness itself, but despair. Despair begins when we stop becoming who we truly are. For Kierkegaard, life could never be solved through pure logic. At some point, every human being reaches the edge of reason, and there, they must choose. Not because certainty exists, but because living requires commitment, even without guarantees. Nearly a century later, psychiatrist Viktor Frankl confronted nihilism under unimaginable circumstances. Imprisoned in Nazi concentration camps, he witnessed people stripped of almost everything: comfort, possessions, family, even their names. Yet he observed something remarkable. Those who found even the smallest reason to continue, a loved one, an unfinished dream, a future responsibility, were often the ones most capable of enduring suffering. Frankl reached a profound conclusion. Meaning is not something we invent out of convenience, nor is it something handed to us by the universe. It is something we discover through the way we respond to life's circumstances. Even suffering can become meaningful if it is faced with dignity. The French philosopher Simone Weil offered another perspective. She believed that modern life constantly distracts us from what truly matters. Our attention is scattered by ambition, possessions, and endless noise. But genuine meaning begins with attention itself. To truly see another person, to notice beauty, or to recognize suffering without looking away. Perhaps the opposite of nihilism is not certainty. Perhaps it is presence. These thinkers did not deny the darkness. They simply refused to let it have the final word. The shadow in the modern world. Perhaps nihilism has never been more relevant than today. We scroll endlessly, consume endlessly, compare endlessly. Information floods every waking moment. Yet loneliness rises, anxiety rises. Meaning feels increasingly scarce. Technology has solved many practical problems, but it has not answered humanity's oldest question: why live? Consumer culture often responds, buy something. Achievement culture answers, work harder. Social media whispers, become visible. Yet none of these satisfy for long, because distraction is not meaning, recognition is not purpose, pleasure is not fulfillment. The modern world offers countless ways to avoid confronting nihilism, very few ways to overcome it. Perhaps this explains why so many people feel strangely empty despite unprecedented comfort. The shadow has not disappeared. It has simply become quieter. Learning to walk with the shadow. Maybe nihilism isn't something to defeat. Maybe it's something to understand. Every meaningful life eventually encounters the possibility that nothing ultimately matters. Ignoring that possibility doesn't eliminate it. Facing it changes us. Imagine standing beneath an infinite night sky. The stars offer no instructions, no guarantees, no promises, only silence. For some, that silence feels unbearable. For others, it becomes freedom. Because if the universe refuses to assign meaning, perhaps meaning was never meant to be discovered. Perhaps it was always meant to be created. In every act of kindness, every friendship, every piece of art, every promise kept despite inconvenience, every child taught, every stranger helped, every truth spoken when lying would be easier. These actions may not matter to the universe, but they matter to us, and perhaps that is enough. The shadow called nihilism reminds us that certainty is fragile, but it also reveals something extraordinary. Meaning is not always something waiting at the end of existence. Sometimes, meaning is what we leave behind through the way we choose to live. And perhaps the greatest act of courage is not pretending the darkness doesn't exist, but carrying a light through it anyway. Ending. The shadow of nihilism may never completely disappear. It has followed humanity for centuries, emerging whenever old beliefs begin to crumble and certainty fades. It asks the hardest question that philosophy has ever faced. If nothing has inherent meaning, then why continue? There may never be a final answer. But perhaps the search itself is what defines us. Because in a silent universe, every act of love, every pursuit of truth, Every moment of courage becomes an act of creation. Not because the cosmos demands it, but because we do. And maybe that is the most profoundly human answer of all.